presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
What a beautiful night it is here in Cincinnati as the Reds and the Indians wrap up the Ohio Cup for 2016 with the Reds looking for the win to send the Indians on their way here tonight. Reds and the Tribe for the final time this year here on Fox Sports Ohio. And hi, good evening, everyone. Along with Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Jim Kelch, and welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Well, last night certainly didn't go the way the Reds would like. This series, in fact, has not gone the way the Reds would like. But, Chris, it's not for the lack of good, hard work by outfielder Jay Bruce. What a series he's had, and what a week or so he's had.
Well, not only that, I mean, he crushes it in the month of May, and he has really done it in this series against the Indians. I mean, Jay Bruce, you know, he's hitting home runs. He's hitting the ball the other way. The shift doesn't work. I mean, he's having a wonderful last 4 games. You see a 7.14 batting average for Jay Bruce with a couple of home runs. That really shouldn't surprise anybody because Jay Bruce loves the month of May. His numbers in his career are better in the month of May than they are in any other month of the season. He's got more home runs. He's got a higher batting average. And again, here in 2016, he's showing that he really loves the month of May.
Well, here are the numbers now for the all-time home run leader here at Great American Ballpark. Bruce became just that last night.
Well, you surpassed the big donkey Adam Dunn when you do that. 128 home runs for Jay Bruce. Congratulations. And what's really fitting is the majority of those home runs have been hit into right field, and he goes right out there to see all those fans that he gives them souvenirs.
Now, as you look for an MVP of this Ohio Cup for this year, one of the guys you could look to is the shortstop of the Indians, Francisco Lindor.
I keep having to check in the stat sheet on him because I can't believe he's only 22 years old. I mean, this guy is a complete player. We haven't really even seen him make tremendous defensive plays yet, but what he has done offensively, mighty impressive. Batting average over 500, 3 doubles, a home run, won the game with a home run last night, and he sprays the ball all over the ballpark. This is a young superstar. Get a good look at him because he's going to be around a long time.
Only 22 years old, second in Rookie of the Year voting in the American League last year, and a big-time talent for Terry Francona's club. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Jim Day looks at the pitching matchup for tonight's game.
Sports Ohio is brought to you by Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good, it's Skyline time.
It's going to be a great night at the ballpark tonight. Temperatures start off around 70 by the first of the game, 65 by the 7th inning. We stay dry, mostly clear. Let's go Reds. Let's get a win.
All right, let's check out tonight's pitching matchup. It will be righty versus righty as the Reds are facing Josh Tomlin, and they're facing him at a hot time because he's 7-0 in his last 9 starts. And not only is he 7-0, but the Indians have won all 9 games in his last 9 starts. On the other side for the Reds, Tim Adelman continues his unlikely ascension to the big leagues. And part of our Elk and Elk storylines, listen to Tim. The approach is very simple.
Don't want to keep repeating the same things over and over week by week or start by start, but it's just about executing pitches and giving the team a chance to win. So just get back to attacking, trying to get some early contact and hopefully get deep in the game. You want to walk in on the day that you start and know that the guys around you are saying, okay, Tim's pitching today, we got a chance to win. And so once you get to there and once you are consistently putting the team in a position to be successful, I think that's when you really reach the point that you're trying to get to.
Other pitchers can learn something off of Adelman. Throw strikes, trust your stuff. Round the corner, lineups, and first pitch, Jim Kelch and Chris Welsh standing by for the call on Fox Sports Ohio.
Staten Island, New York native Tim Adelman leading the Reds onto the field. This will be for Adelman, start number 4 overall, start number 2 here at Great American Ballpark. He'll face the Indians for the first time. And speaking of the Indians, there's their skipper, Terry Francona, 16th year as a manager, 4th here with the Indians club. And right now he has his team in the best position they've been in this year, 3 games above the 500 mark. His lineup card tonight looks like this. Rajay Davis, what a series he's had, leading it off. Then Jason Kipnis, then Francisco Lindor, Carlos Santana, Jose Ramirez, Lonnie Chisenhall, the middle 3. Juan Uribe, Chris Jimenez, Josh Tomlin round out the lineup for the Indians here this evening. On the mound, the aforementioned Tim Adelman.
28 years old, but Tim Adelman has been around a little bit, meaning he has been in the minor leagues, a draft pick, 24th round pick by the Baltimore Orioles in 2010, but he didn't last long in the minor leagues with them. He got released. He had to go to independent ball to keep his career alive. So he's been at the very bottom rung of the professional ladder before finally climbing up and climbing and climbing, and now on the big league mound. Adelman has had 3 starts, so we're looking at number 4, and the Reds are looking to him very much to carry this ball club to a much needed win in this interleague play.
We heard an interesting comment from him from Jim Day right before we came back up here, and that was, I want my team to think when Tim goes to the mound, we have a real chance to win.
Great attitude.
If that happens tonight. Rajai Davis to lead things off. First pitch of the game is right in there for a strike. A little more comfortable here than it's been as of late. 70 degrees game time temperature at Great American. Davis starts the game at .250 with 4 home runs, 18 runs batted in. He had his 3rd career multi-home run game here last night. The solo shot in the 3rd, and that big 2-run blast in the 9th inning against Cingrani. What a series he's had, 7 out of 12, although up and down their lineup. They have had good series here in the Ohio Cup 2016.
Well, when you score 15 runs one game, 13 runs the next, you're going to have some bodacious numbers offensively.
Denied on that check swing. That's Paul Emmel down there at first. The home runs, here they are last night. This one against Finnegan in the 3rd inning. Gave the Indians at the time a 2-0 lead, and then with 1 out and a runner on in the 9th, he hit his 2nd. Two and 2 now to Davis. That's a great location pitch right there by Tim Adelman, and he's rewarded as Ryan Blakeney calls out Rajai Davis to get
like
this
the
game.
way that Adelman continued to just work the bottom of the zone right here, especially with that last pitch, and was able to sneak that fastball by him.
Remember back in his first start against the Pirates, he allowed 2 runs in 6 innings, walked 2, struck out 6, but boy, in those early innings he was just point on in his location
and pouring strikes into the zone.
Here's the second baseman now, Jason Kipnis. Starts the game at .289 with 5 home runs, 21 runs batted in. 1 for 5 in the game here last night, the 12-inning affair won by the Tribe. They look to sweep this series. They won the first 2 at Progressive Field, and they won here last night.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the early game problem of hitters seeing the baseball on a sunny day this time of the year at Great American Ballpark. And boy, that center field background right there can be very difficult to pick the spin up of a baseball out of the pitcher's hand. And you see some odd swings oftentimes as we get these games underway. This year it's a little different because you see that that batter's eye out here actually has some canvas covers over the windows. Those used to project somewhat of a glare that the hitters would really complain about, and they've taken care of that this year.
Well, back in the day, you remember when, I don't know if it was like this when you were playing, Chris, but certainly way back in the 60s, 70s, they didn't have the hitter's backdrop out there. Like at Wrigley Field, it was just the bleachers, and the people were out there, and you did whatever you needed to do to see the ball.
White shirts and all.
Yeah. Take a look at the Reds defensively behind Adelman. Brought to you by your Ford dealers. They line up as follows. Duvall, Hamilton, and Bruce in the outfield. Suarez, Cozart, Phillips, Votto third to first. Barnhart catches Tim Adelman. Fourth start, Chris mentioned, for Adelman, and Barnhart has been behind the plate in each one of those. Adelman started the year at Louisville, made 3 starts down there, 2-0 with a 4.24. 2 so-so starts, and his last one in late April was very good. 7 innings of no-run, 3-hit baseball. Got the call up here on the 1st of May. Here he is facing the Indians for the first time. Ball's behind Lindor now at 3-0. Comes in 7th in the league in hitting at .325. 3 straight 3-hit games in this series for Lindor. Carlos Santana playing in the field, first base in this game, on deck. Suarez chasing it, and he cannot get it. Full count. Suarez last night, big blow in that 6th inning, that 5-run frame. His team leading 9th home run. Hoping that that might be enough. Reds led 6-4 after that home run ball. Ball 4. So Lindor on, a 1st inning base runner for the Indians.
Tim Adelman is another one of those pitchers that really combines the set position with the full windup. I mean, we noticed with nobody on base, I mean, he essentially pitches out of the stretch. Of course, now that you have a runner on base, you've got to make sure that you come to a discernible stop before you go to the plate with a pitch.
I guess that for him, that's the only real difference, isn't it?
That's the only thing you have to do because everything else is very much the same.
Going on the first pitch, which is a ball. The throw is going to be late, and a stolen base for Francisco Lindor, his 7th of the year.
Well, the one thing you see more and more on tag plays at any base is the umpire waiting an extra moment. You know, you can see that Lindor beats the throw, but the second base umpire, Paul Emmel, is going to wait to make sure that he didn't slide off the bag as Cozart keeps the tag right on him. That's a product of the review.
So an opportunity now for Santana with a runner in scoring position. Wonder about Lindor and his stolen bases and where they compare to last year. Last year as a rookie, he stole a dozen. That is number 7, and here we are, game 41. This is basically the start of the 2nd quarter of the season, so his pace is way up.
Guy has great game presence. Good pitch right there. You can see that by the Reds defense, they really feel that Santana is a dead pull hitter. I mean, they've got all their guys over here on this part of the field. So you pitch him low and away, and that's a pitch that he doesn't necessarily like to hit.
Out of the way of that one, and now Santana had 3 balls and 1 strike. You've seen him hit all over the Indians lineup in this series. He hit 5th in one game. He led off in the 2nd game over in Cleveland. Did not start last night, and here he is in the cleanup spot in this game. Struggled with runners in scoring position, to be sure. Borderline strike there. And the Indians have done everything well in this series overall, hitting .365. Runners in scoring position, 14 for 43. So .326 computed average. 2-out walk to Lindor. Stole second on the first pitch in which he was on the bases. And a nice off-speed pitch. Santana went way up to chase it. Didn't get it. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Adelman and no runs for the Indians. Kozar will lead off for the Reds in this game. He is our steel power tool performer of the night against Cleveland at home in 6 games. Look at that average, 583, including a home run, 5 runs batted in. Zach Kozar, tonight's steel power tool performer of the night. Rest of the lineup for the Reds. Kozar leads off, then Hamilton, then Votto. Phillips, Bruce, and Suarez in the middle. Duvall back in there tonight in left field. Barnhart 8th. Adelman, the pitcher, batting 9th.
Well, now 31 years old, Josh Tomlin has been with the Indians his entire career. 5-0 this year. He is 41-30 in his lifetime, so 11 games over 500.
Gets a strike in there to Kozar to get the Reds' first inning started. Zach just out of the top 10 in the league and hitting at .320. 4 home runs. He's driven in 15. He had a 3-hit game last night. Followed by Hamilton and Votto. Smashed off the pitcher's glove. That is going to be a hit. And a good start for the Reds as Kozar gets the infield hit on the line drive that trickled off the glove of Tomlin.
It's always the best advice any hitting coach can give a young hitter, which is hit the ball at the worst fielder on the team. And that is usually the pitcher, because by the time he delivers the ball to the plate, he's only about 50 feet from home. Usually the reaction time is such that you can knock a ball down, but you can't always make the play. So Kozar leads another game off with a hit.
Tomlin couldn't get to it. Kipnis couldn't get to it. Now we'll see Tomlin work from the stretch and Uribe come way in at third base. Billy had a bunt single, you remember, in last night's game. That came in the 6th inning. 2 for 6. To the mound. They'll get one at second and not at first base. That's a double play off most hitters' bats. Billy Hamilton, who has not hit into a double play this year, keeps that number intact.
Well, if you can't get the runner over either with a sacrifice bunt or a base hit, the next best thing is to have Billy Hamilton at first base and see if he can't push the running game on the Indians a little bit.
Well, Well, he stole a base in the first inning last night, snapping a streak of having been caught 2 times in a row. And I mentioned at the time he's never been caught 3 times in a row in his big league career.
Tomlin usually does not have problems at all holding runners close. In fact, he's very quick to the plate. He's got a good move to first base also. And if you look at his numbers throughout his career as far as holding runners to first, he's only given up 1 stolen base in the last 4 seasons. So he is right there with Johnny Cueto as far as shutting down the running game.
From a fan standpoint, that is certainly an overlooked area, isn't it?
Well, yes, it is. And for a lot of ball clubs, it's an overlooked area if you don't have a running game. But for the Reds, on the other hand, I mean, if you got Billy Hamilton, and one time a few days ago they had Jose Peraza, who's also a legitimate stolen base threat. If you've got a speedy, athletic team, you can really create some headaches for a guy that's slow to the plate.
Ball and a strike to Votto, hitting .214. Drove in 2 of those 22 runs last night in that 5-run 6th inning, 2-run double. It was 1 for 4. And only 2 out of 10 in this series. Hey, you mentioned before we went on, Chris, a great piece of information that Tomlin is involved in for Baseball Today. I thought it was great about his undefeated 5-0 record. You remember that? That slipped your mind.
I'm searching my mind right now.
About undefeated pitchers working today.
Well, this is undefeated Thursday. And Tomlin is just one of a number of pitchers that are pitching today that have an undefeated record. We get a chance, we'll show you what we're talking about. Tomlin, I guess he's just taking a chance that Hamilton might be going off the base at the same time that he throws over to the bag. But you can see he's got quick feet, and of course that's the beginning of a good move to first base, is the pitcher's feet.
Votto has a career home run against this guy Tomlin, and there's part of his splits for this year.
Billy getting a chuckle out of that. He's trying to get Santana to break a smile, but Carlos is being kind of serious out there. This is what we're talking about, Jim, and you brought it up. I'm glad you did. Undefeated Thursday. There are 4 pitchers that have gone today or will pitch tonight that are undefeated coming into today. Now, Jason Hamill already lost that undefeated record when the Cubs lost to the Brewers. Josh Tomlin 5-0. Steven Strasburg will face the Mets and Matt Harvey tonight. He brings a 6-0 record in. And Chris Sale will face the Astros, sporting an 8-0 record so far this year. Undefeated Thursday. And the reason I think it's interesting anyway is because, you know, if you go in order of the way we put that panel together, Hamill has already pitched for the Cubs, and he's lost his unblemished record. And maybe Josh Tomlin is next in line.
That would be nice to know. Well, Chris Sale, though, 8-0 on a pretty good White Sox team. This Indians team on a road trip that will take them next to Boston and then to Chicago to take on the White Sox. Here now is Phillips at .265 with 6 home runs and 19 runs batted in. Brandon hitless in the game last night, 0 for 6. Really not getting much of a lead over there at first at all against Tomlin.
Well, here's an idea for Tom. I mean, to give you an idea how good Tomlin is. I mean, I mean it when I say he's right there with Johnny Cueto. He has pitched 86 starts in the major leagues, and he has given up 6 stolen bases.
That's incredible. Jammed him, and Phillips hits it towards center, and Rajai Davis is there. And the Cozart hit goes for naught in the first. Saturdays this season at the ballpark for as low as $12. This Saturday, the first 25,000 fans will receive a Ken Griffey Jr. dual bobblehead thanks to St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com.
You know, the other reason you may want to come out to the ballpark on Saturday?
That would be?
If you like good pitching, King Felix will be towing the rubber for the Seattle Mariners. Felix Hernandez. And he's about as good as it gets. Although this year he's 3-3. But his earned run average typically is very low, and it is again this year.
The idea, of course, of interleague play is you get to see some really good players that you don't normally get to see, and certainly King Felix is one of them.
Unless, of course, they're DHs.
Yes, that's right. Nelson Cruz, point taken right there. Seattle will be here tomorrow night. They start the day at 22-17. They have a 1-game lead over Texas in the American League West. Like this White Sox team, delirious the way things have gone, certainly the last 3 days over the Reds, but with the White Sox having lost 4 in a row, they have picked up 3 games in 3 days on the White Sox and are now just 2.5 games back.
Well, the Mariners spent the day by beating up on the Baltimore Orioles. That was a 12:35 game in Baltimore. So very likely the Mariners are already here in Cincinnati. Probably hunkered down watching the game right now on Fox Sports Ohio.
Let's not give away any secrets tonight. There's Lonnie Chisenhall, the right fielder. Lonnie did not start in the game last night. Did ultimately get a couple of plate appearances, actually 3 of them, 2 at bats and a walk. He scored a run. He was on in front of Davis when he hit that 2-run homer in the 9th inning that tied things. They shift Chisenhall, but not the big shift. Cozart's still on the Third base side is second. Outfield you can see is straight away. Got under it, hits it to right, and Bruce will make it the second out of the inning. Jay last night, those 2 home runs that put him over the top in terms of home runs here at Great American Ballpark. Now 128. We touched on it on the open, surpassing Adam Dunn. He said after the game last night when he was asked about it, he was a mentor to me when I came up as a 21-year-old. Here's Juan Uribe. Hitting only .202 on the year, and worse than that when he's playing away from Progressive Field, down at just 119 on the road.
Well, if you watch Uribe's front foot, he'll tell you what's going on with him as far as what he's trying to do. He starts with a closed stance, but he opens it up a little bit when he strides. And when he strides like that, and it's only a couple of inches offline, when he strides like that, it makes it very difficult for him to hit that low outside pitch. But he can wallop something you leave on the inner third.
Wallops that one, but foul past third. Certainly in the latter days of his playing career, but the word that you hear about Uribe, he is just a terrific teammate and clubhouse guy.
Everybody and everywhere he has been says the same thing. Looks like he slipped on that one.
Bruce with a long run, and Jake gets there to haul it in. He got a good jump on that one off the bat. And down in order in the second go the Indians.
I think it means more that, you know, I've been on a team, one team long enough to have the record at their ballpark, you know, so the more time the better. Like I mentioned earlier, the record's probably not going to stand for very long. Joey's got 9 years left here, so I'm guessing that he's going to hold it here for too long. But, oh, it's good, you know. I'll take everyone I can get.
Always humble when you talk to him about any record that he may set, isn't he?
Absolutely, and that's the one thing you really like about Jay Bruce. After a bad games, he's there to talk to reporters. After a good games, he is there. He never toots his own horn. And he is what he is. I mean, and Jay Bruce, and what I mean by that, he's a player that throughout his career has been very hot and very cold. And people get frustrated because they see Jay Bruce for a month just completely go off and annihilate pitching, and they want to know why that doesn't happen 5 straight months in a row.
Well, he's in the hole here, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Talked about the fact that he had a very good road trip in 5 games, Philadelphia and Cleveland. 8 for 16. Had the 2 home runs last night, 3 out of 4. This is average all the way up to 290. Look at that month of May, 339 this month, and there's still a week and a half to go. Talked about Jay being the all-time home run leader here at Great American. He is 7th all-time in Reds history, sitting at 216. Some 28 behind George Foster for 6th place. Suarez on deck. He had a big blow last night. Tomlin gets the call on that one. He gets his 2nd strikeout of the game.
Boy, Tomlin just picking away at that outside corner. I mean, the key to Josh Tomlin, obviously, if you're watching the Fox box or the Fox Tracks box brought to you by Menards, you're going to see that it's control. I mean, he's just peppering that outside corner. He's not overpowering. His fastball is anywhere from 88 to 91 miles an hour. But he gives those hitters an opportunity to get themselves out by pinpointing it all around the different parts of the zone.
He is now with a Eugenio Suarez. Team leading 9 home runs for Suarez. 26 runs batted in. Just 1 off the pace set by Jay Bruce. Again, that 3-run homer in the 6th inning last night. Ian Votto's hits the big ones in that inning. It came as the first batter to face Zach McAllister. Crockett had come in, gave up the hit to Bruce. McAllister came in and gave up the long ball to Suarez. Another pretty good crowd on this Thursday night here at GABP.
Great night to be out at the ballpark.
Yeah, it really is. Ohio Cup 2016 closes its doors here tonight. Jammed him there, and Santana will make the play for out number 2. Take a look at the Indians' defensive setup, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Ramirez, Davis, Chisenhall in the outfield. Uribe and Lindor left side. Kipnis, Santana right side. Tomlin throws to Jimenez. Yan Gomes getting the night off tonight. There's Adam Duvall back in the starting lineup tonight. Had the night off last night in terms of starting. Former Indian Tyler Holt started out there. Duvall did enter the game later as part of a double switch. Had 2 at-bats, was 0 for 2. Pleasant surprise through the first 6 weeks or so of the season. Adam Duvall. Lindor flags that ball down and gets his man at first base. Reds go in order in inning number 2.
Greater coverage of baseball brought to you by T-Mobile. The Brewers did something that not many have done. They defeated the Cubs 5-3 today and won the series 2-1. Brewers always seem to play the Cubs tough. Pittsburgh Pirates cooling off after a 15-9 April, just 6-9 so far in May. And Adam Wainwright, don't look now, but here he comes back. 6 2/3 innings last night versus Colorado. 6 hits, no runs. First shutout start of the season.
Well, you see, Chris Carter has been a welcome addition to that Milwaukee club. You saw he hit his 12th home run. That is second in the league. I mean, he's done a nice job.
You know, he's going to hit a lot of home runs. I'm not so sure about the batting average, but in that ballpark, which gives up a lot of home runs, Brewer Park, that is, Miller Park, that he's a threat at the plate, and every team wants a few of those guys.
All right, into the third now we go. Chris Jimenez leads things off. He's catching tonight for the Indians. Last year, remember that AL West champion team, Texas Rangers. Limited time with this Indians club for Jimenez. Actually in spring training with the Rangers also this year. Injured, started the year on the DL. Designated for assignment in early May by Texas. Signed by the White Sox, and now he's their backup catcher to Yan Gomes. Third time through the Indians organization for this guy. Tomlin on deck. Down goes the Indians catcher on strikes. Well, we talk about all the good things that are going on in baseball, but what about the White Sox last night? Not one, but now 2 triple plays they've turned this year. One on your left is the first one against Texas. I mean, it was all over the place. Last night's clean and simple.
And what we show you in this video, the split screen video, is the video on the right is how many times could they have turned the conventional double play around the horn like they did last night in the amount of time it took to have the first triple play. And the answer to that is, well, you have to see the very end of it. We're on 4. Around the horn it goes on the right, chasing the runner on the left. They're going to turn it one more time.
So what was the answer? 6, 7 times?
5 times.
5 times, okay.
But, which is pretty amazing, really. And so is Josh Tomlin at the plate. He is now 5 for 8 as a hitter in the major leagues. He's not swung the bat in a real ball game since 2012. All of his hits have been singles. This young man came to swing the bat a little bit. Native of Tyler, Texas. They call him the Little Texan.
You have to have a good natural instinct, hand-eye coordination. When you're a pitcher and you haven't hit for 4 years and you get up there and just swing the bat and hit it right up the middle like that.
First thing you have to have is eyesight. And what you really find if you talk to the team optometrist is that within 30 seconds they know whether the patient he is seeing is a pitcher or a hitter. Because most pitchers are blind and most hitters have off the charts eyesight.
We know that because when we see pitchers lean in and not be able to see the sign that they're having trouble seeing. Like Brian Pena always wore those glow sticks on his fingernails. I think if I was a pitcher I would love that. Last thing you want to do is cross up your catcher, right?
You're right, yeah. Adelman used a combination of about 3 or 4 different pitches. 91 miles an hour on the fastball, throws a curveball, a changeup. It also changes speeds on his fastball a little bit.
Votto had it, dropped it, gets an out, and down to second base goes Tomlin. A unique throwing style that Votto has. You see it a lot. You saw it right there.
Well, it certainly isn't textbook at all, but if you come out to the ballpark early and you watch Joey Votto take ground balls, and as part of taking infield practice, you throw the ball around to the bases, he practices that particular throw all the time. So that's why he's able to throw it on the money most of the time.
You see it on ground balls to his right. You see it when he's charging on a potential sacrifice bunt. You saw it right there. Doesn't always have a lot on it, but it's accurate, as you say. Here now is Kipnis. Popped up to the shortstop Cozart his first time.
Good looking pitch right there. That little front door fastball from Adelman spins up a two-seamer that Kipnis reads as being inside. It comes right over the inside part of the plate. Well, that shot gives you a really good look at how much movement he has on that pitch. Really, from a mechanical standpoint, that's the most difficult pitch for a right-handed pitcher to throw.
Votto will take this himself and retire Kipnis and put an end to the Indians' third.
Going around the clubhouse today. 6th inning last night. Zach Cozart on second, Hamilton on first. Votto with the deep shot. Cozart had to hold up to tag up if the ball was caught, but Hamilton caught Cozart only 4 feet from him when they both scored almost simultaneously, and both of them were still laughing today.
I'm like telling him to slow down, but yeah, it was that's why you saw me before he even scored. I'm like laughing because I'm like, it doesn't matter. I could start on third and he's on first. He's catching me, so I was in trouble right there.
It was a fun moment, you know, just running behind Zach, watching him look back at me like, what are you doing? Like, why you so close to me? It seemed like me and him passed the plate at the same time, you know, like he touched and I touched, like right there. So that was pretty fun, man.
Billy Hamilton is a pitcher's worst nightmare. He's also a teammate's worst nightmare when he's running behind you, particularly when you're coming off of knee surgery, but a funny moment.
I tell you, that was something to see last night. We've seen some great stuff out of Billy Hamilton. He scored the last homestand from first on a single. He darn near catches his teammate. Could have easily surpassed him last night on that hit by Votto. Always entertaining when Billy gets on the bases. Hard hit by Barnhart. He is thrown out to start the home third.
Well, you know, if Billy Hamilton ever gets too close to a teammate who is running the bases in front of him, that teammate can always stop, turn around, and push him backwards. You may think that's a violation of the rules, but it is not. A teammate can help another teammate from passing the first runner. So the next time Cozart feels like Hamilton's too close, maybe I ought to stop and say, hey, push him back a little bit. Now, a coach can't do that, but the runner can.
That's a good note to keep in your mind in case you're at a little league game with your son or daughter. Something like that happens.
Major Leagues has already had, I think, two violations of the one runner passing another runner already this season.
I don't know about both of them, but one of them was on a home run, I believe.
Well, yeah, I think both of them were home runs.
Great if there was a website that you could kind of type in situations to and things would come up. A good thing to go to. Adelman strikes out. 2 down. Remember to follow Cincinnati Reds baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at-bat. It's the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet. Eight in a row now retired by Tomlin since this man Cozart led off the Reds first with that infield single. Now he'll get Cozart on this ball. Davis and Chisenhall, and Davis is there. And a quick bottom of the third turned in by Josh Tomlin. pass to kick off the summer. Don't miss the Memorial Tournament presented by Nationwide, May 30th through June the 5th. Purchase your tickets at memorialbadges.com. Scoreless through 3 here in this game at Great American Ballpark. Adelman has been good in his starts through 3 this year. In fact, he's not allowed a run through the first 3 innings of any of his starts this year. Gets it going here in the 4th against Francisco Lindor. Here's what we're talking about. All the other innings, 2 earned runs. 4th inning this year, 4 earned runs, 3 innings pitched. In the hole, picked by Cozart, and a high throw, and into the dugout it goes. Lindor ended up at second in the 1st. They're here to start the 4th.
You know, the first instinct of any professional athlete is I can make the play. And you also have to remember who's running sometimes, because Lindor, I guess if that throw's on the money, it would be very close, but he really couldn't get much on that. Cozart is a superlative fielder in his own right, just probably lost his balance a little bit on that one.
Well, Lindor will be credited with a hit. Cozart charged with an error. The Indians with a runner in scoring position to start inning number 4. Santana puts a charge into this ball to right, and the Indians have jumped in front 2-0 here in the top of the 4th. Boy, oh boy, the 4th inning has been an absolute disaster for Adelman. 3rd home run is given up this year, but the 1st with a runner aboard.
Now they're trying to go away with a pitch to Carlos Santana. Oh, no, they weren't. They're trying to go inside. The ball went outside. I thought that they were going to pitch him the same way he did the first time up. Tucker Barnhart, who reaches for it, never gets a chance to grab it. And that's why that pitch, you know, we talk about the front door fastball, you know, the one that starts off the plate and comes back and gets the inner, you know, just on the edge. That is a very dangerous pitch, in addition to being a very difficult pitch to throw. It's difficult because if you miss your spot, you're either going to hit the batter sometimes or you're going to leave it out over the plate. It's dangerous because when you leave it out over the plate, especially with runners on base, it's a multiple run home run. So I was always told by pitching coaches along the way, if you go inside like that, and if you miss your spot, you have to miss inside. Better to bury the ball into hitter's ribs and leave the ball out over the plate and pay for it with a 2-run bomb.
6th home run of the year for Santana, who is the Indians' all-time home run leader by a switch hitter. 123rd career home run for him, and now Adelman walks Ramirez following the home run ball.
Well, yeah, I know there have been studies on it, and it's uncanny how often that happens, especially to young pitchers. Give up a home run, then you get a little bit shy about throwing the ball over the plate, which has been his forte since he's come up here with the Reds, and you walk the next batter. Well, the Reds really need Adelman that takes care of some innings here tonight. Red starters in this series have only totaled 8 1/3 innings in 2 games. Back when Alfredo Simon went 7 2/3 innings a couple of weeks ago on May the 5th. Since that time, no Red starter has gone more than 6 innings. That is a burden on your bullpen, and there's just no way around it.
Chisenhall went down to get that ball, and Billy Hamilton will make the catch, and that's the first out here in the 4th. Lindor had an infield single and went to second on the throwing error by Cozart. Santana brought him home with his 6th of the year. Ramirez drew the walk. Chisenhall out. Now it's Juan Uribe. Applied to Bruce his first time. Talking over in Cleveland with Indians manager Terry Francona about his team, and he said the thing that a lot of managers say, you know, we just want to hover around 500 early until we can really get rolling, and that way we don't have so much ground to make up. He said the first 3 years that he's been the manager here, we've gotten up to such slow starts that it's taken us forever to really get rolling and get back into things. This year, here they are on the 19th of May, a season high 3 games over, and if they win tonight, they will equal their longest winning streak of the season. So he's a little bit more pleased with the way things have gone this year than the first 3 years.
And they've been kind of floundering right around 500 all season long. Before this series began, they'd never been more than 2 games over, nor 2 games under. They're now 3 over for the first time since opening day.
You see them in the standings, and they have gained 3 games in 3 days on the White Sox. Runner on the move, and look at that, a smash right to the base that would have been a double play. It ricochets off the glove of Phillips, and instead the Indians have them at the corners with 1 out. Boy, that could not have broken down any better for the Reds initially.
You're right, because Brandon Phillips going over to cover the bag, and he thinks he's got it easy on a backhand. I'm wondering if that ball just was hit so hard. I mean, Uribe really just scalds it. It looks like it takes a high bounce on Brandon's backhand, where the normally very dependable Reds defense has faltered a couple of times tonight.
Phillips charged with an error. Chance for more for the Indians with Jimenez at the plate.
That's a difficult error because he was really out of position to field that ball. He was going over to cover the bag. Secondly, he had the bag to contend with a little bit. And finally, the ball was really hit hard. And a lot of times official scorers will take all of those things into consideration when determining hit or error. I wonder if Adelman may have hurt his back. He's walking around out there like his back hurts, and anybody who's got a sore back walks around with your hands on your hips. We've done it before. And Steve Ballman is going to come out to the mound, Tucker Barnhart, and be joined by the home plate umpire. And here come the pitching coach and the manager too. Boy, oh boy, is this about the last thing the Reds need right now. Take a look at the last pitch, and we'll see if anything happens here that we can see him grab right there, that back left part of his rib cage.
Just looking at his facial expressions, he doesn't look very optimistic, does he? Wow.
mean, if there was something going on before the game, obviously they'd know about it. Baumann came out of the dugout pretty quickly, so I'm wondering if there was something, you know, a little residual ache and pain in his back, maybe from his warm-up session today in the bullpen. I mean, he doesn't even look like he wants to take a couple of practice pitches to see if he can pitch through it. I mean, you got a bad back, you just can't pitch, period. We know that. That's a shame.
Adelman is going to leave the game. Steve Baumann, the head trainer of the Reds, walks off with him. And you're exactly right. That is a crying shame for Adelman. He'd given up the 2-run homer here, but he pitched pretty well through the first 3 innings, and he will leave. And so the woes of the Reds and their pitching continue here with an injury that forces Adelman out of the game. The Reds will bring on a new pitcher who will get as much time as he needs to warm up. I'm surprised when we saw that shot there that Adelman didn't go right down into the clubhouse. Maybe he's just going to, yeah, that's what he's going to do, just grab his jacket and then go on down. Mark Riggins in the dugout, the pitching coach of the Reds, trying to decide what they're going to do here in terms of a new pitcher. There goes Tim, and this is 4th start into the dugout. Meanwhile, Caleb Cotham, who pitched in the game here last night, will come on into the game for the Reds and again get as much time as he needs to warm up. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen here in the 4th. Back with more in a moment.
Is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Make sure you cheer on your Red Legs when they take on the Seattle Mariners tomorrow through Sunday. Thanks to Reach Magazine, you can catch all the action and save with the 4 for $48 ticket offer. Get 4 view level tickets and 4 Reds hats for only $48. For tickets, you can call 513-381-REDS or go visit reds.com. Talk about the Mariners, going to be the team that comes into town tomorrow. They'll be here tomorrow at 7:10. Then Saturday the game is at 4:10. Sunday the game is at 1:10. Scott Service is their manager. He's in his first year. He replaced Lloyd McClendon, who had managed out there for a couple of years. Big road record, second best in the big leagues at 15-7. Pitching matchup for the series, Iwakuma against Straley tomorrow night. Chris was talking about King Felix Hernandez on Saturday against John Lamb. Wade Miley, one of the newcomers to their rotation, against Alfredo Simon on Sunday. They added Miley and they added Nate Carnes, new players into the rotation. And how about their closer this year, Steve Cishek? Remember him from the Marlins days. He had been a closer for them then was out of the closing business for a couple of years, and they signed him as a free agent, and he's now their closer.
Well, he's the right-handed pitcher that throws from way down under. Cishek does, and not only throws from way under, but he also throws it fairly hard from way under in the low 90s. So Caleb Coughlin takes them out. He's got about as long as he wants, obviously, and I can tell you, I don't think there's a pitcher that has ever had to do this that likes this. Warming up in front of everybody else, especially the other dugout. Now, it may not be as bad for relievers, but sometimes long men who are primarily starters, you know, it takes a while. You want to throw a few pitches. For instance, before you get ready to pitch a ball game and you go down to pitch a bullpen, it may take you, 12 to 15 minutes to warm up.
Right.
You throw a few, you get loose, you have a routine where you throw a certain number of each one of your pitches, and then you may sit down a while and have a drink of water and you towel yourself off, and then you're going to throw a little bit more, and maybe you want to throw long toss ahead of time. But you always have a feeling that there's a sense of urgency. Even though you've been instructed by your manager and the umpire, you've got as long as you want. You still feel like you're holding up the game if you don't hurry up and get it done.
Well, it's interesting there to see Ryan Blakeney hold up 2 and then hold up 1 finger to Cotham as if to say, that's what you have left.
Yeah. I don't understand that. I think maybe Cotham may have been telling the home plate umpire, all I need is 2 more, and the umpire agreed. That'd be great. Peace to you too.
All right, a 1-1 count to Jimenez, and anything that he does at the plate will be charged to Cotham, not to Adelman, who goes 3 1/3. Gives up 2 runs so far, 3 hits. Adelman walked 2, struck out 3. Runners on are his responsibility, talking about the starter.
Now this will make the string continue, including tonight. Reds have had 10 of the last 12 starting pitchers fail to get through the 6th inning. The Diamondbacks are only ahead in this particular stat of the number of innings pitched out of your bullpen because Arizona has played 3 more games than have the Reds.
Double play ball. There's 1. There's 2. 4-6-3 puts an end to the top of the 4th. Click it or ticket, and on Friday stop by the Fox Sports Ohio photo booth inside the fan zone here at Great American Ballpark to get a souvenir photo and some great prizes. Click it or ticket. Well, back to the mound goes the longest tenured Indian, Josh Tomlin. Perfect on the year at 5-0 with a 3.82 ERA. In terms of what he has done against the Reds in his career, he's made 4 starts against the Reds, 1-2, 5+ ERA. That victory came way back in 2011 in Cleveland. Here's Hamilton to get the bottom of the 4th started. Tomlin 33 pitches through 3 innings. Very efficient tonight. Billy Cuban off the end of the bat his first time right back to the mound. You like first pitch strikes, 9 of 11 so far in this game for Tomlin. Billy turned on that ball into the corner. That's fair. That's off the wall. Picked up by Chisenhall. Billy into second, and he will stay put there with a leadoff double here in the 4th inning for Billy Hamilton, his 8th double of the year.
We've talked about Billy Hamilton spraying the ball to left field, and when he starts getting pitches that he can drive a little bit, he's a very strong young guy. I mean, even though he looks frail, he's wiry, and it's good to see him put a little thump on that ball.
3rd hit of the series for Billy Hamilton. Basically just pinch hit in the first game when he came back from the bereavement list. Votto puts a charge into this ball near the wall and gone. A home run for Joey Votto. Wasn't sure if that was going to get out, and it barely did. Just above the Reds bullpen. Votto had a big hit last night. Gets another one tonight, and the game is tied.
We saw it last night with Joey Votto, who hit a double, but struck out the first couple of times and then gets a pitch on the outer 3rd. And boy, is that dangerous if you get it out over and on the plate. Votto jolts it out of here to dead center field like he normally does every day. Out here grinding it out about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, taking extra batting practice.
Lindor the backhand pick, and they get Phillips for out number 1. How about that? Jumpmen continue to shine here at the ballpark. Votto and Phillips. Career-wise, that is Votto's 198th home run. Going to join 10 others who have hit 200 or more wearing the Reds uniform. Now at 24 RBIs for Votto. So 2-run homer in the top of the inning by Santana. Votto answers in the bottom half. By Santana, but they will recover to the tribe and get Bruce on a 3-1 put out. And the batter will be Eugenio Suarez. He's tonight's IGS bringing the energy feature. Suarez, season best 6-game hitting streak for him. 9 hits in that span, 3 of them home runs, 8 RBIs. Suarez, IGS bringing the energy. Mentioned Votto, that 198th career home run, tied for 10th now on the all-time Reds list. And Bruce, in that soundbite we had earlier, saying, well, I probably won't hold the record long. Votto certainly will surpass me. That for Votto, the 109th home run he's hit at Great American. He's 4th all-time. He's have to put some good work in to surpass Jay. Lindor in the hole, jump throw, and it got away, and Suarez is on, and he's going to end up at second base. That's going to be an infield single for Suarez to keep his hitting streak going. Now it's 7, and a throwing error by Lindor.
Well, Lindor gets to this ball in a hurry. Uribe gives up on it. Lindor pops himself into the air, then throws. If it's on the money, they've got him.
Third error of the year on Lindor. Talking about errors, pre-Lindor Indian shortstops, 11 errors in 61 games, and Lindor a little more than double the number of games played and just a few more errors. Really, right before him at shortstop was Jose Ramirez, who's really, for the most part, an outfielder now with his team.
Well, Lindor has been big league ready with his glove for probably 5 years. They wanted to wait, of course, until he got a little bit older, until he could handle big league pitching with the bat. I'd say he's there.
Here's Duvall with an opportunity now with 2 out to give the Reds the lead. Duvall hitting a lofty 368 with runners in scoring position this year, sitting on 16 ribbies. Kivas Sampson now throwing in the Reds bullpen. Popped him up. Santana and Kipnis, and it is Kipnis to retire the side. But Reds give up a 2-run shot in the top of the inning. And here's Joey Votto connecting for the 6th time this year. We play into the 5th, even at 2. Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on U.S. News Best Children's Hospitals. Good shot at downtown from the Kentucky side of things. Good one going on thus far through 4. Pair of 2-run homers. Family enjoying themselves here at the ballpark tonight. Fifth inning now. Josh Tomlin will lead things off. This is the first interleague series for the Reds this year. This is the third for the Indians. They lost 2 out of 3 at home to the Mets. They also were swept in 3 games at Philadelphia. They go back to the American League schedule beginning tomorrow. They have the Boston Red Sox. Then they go to Chicago. They have a doubleheader on Monday against the White Sox up there. Back into interleague play until the end of June. They go down to Atlanta.
Well, Tomlin already has 1 hit on the night, 1 for 1. When he was at Texas Tech, and that's where the Cleveland Indians drafted him in 2006. When he did not pitch, he was playing third base.
Got himself another hit. He pulls this one inside the bag at third. And he will try to stretch it and will get easily into second with a leadoff double. Josh Tomlin 2 for 2. And 2 of the 4 hits that the Indians have tonight.
You know, I've been sitting here watching Josh Tomlin pitch and then hit. And I'm trying to think who he reminds me of as a player that we've seen a lot of over the years. And it would be Tim Hudson, former pitcher with the Oakland A's and then for a long time with the Atlanta Braves. Same size, you know, not overpowering, but a very good athlete. Play-by-play.
I might have to do that. Billy back. Billy still going back on the track near the wall. Jumps but cannot get it. Tomlin had to wait to be sure. They're going to wave him around. And no throw from Cozart. Tomlin was basically standing on second base when that ball bounced off the wall. The third base coach of the Indians, Mike Sarbaugh, waved him around third when Cozart got the ball. Zach turned and looked. No throw. Indians have taken a 3-2 lead.
Boy, Billy is beating himself up on running into walls in this ballpark. He did it last night in left center field, hit it hard, full speed, and I think he hit that one hard too.
Davis gets the double and the run batted in. Indians regain the lead here in the 5th inning. We were talking before the game about who may be the most outstanding player of the Ohio Cup. We threw out the name of Francisco Lindor, and he has a walk, a steal, a hit, a run scored tonight. Rajai Davis is right there in the mix as well.
Boy, he's been right in the mix of every offense the Indians have been able to put together, and they have put together a lot of offense. Davis said after his home run last night, he says, you know, when a little guy hits him, I just have to hope for the best. He's been doing a lot of hoping.
Popped him up. Duvall will make the catch on this ball. That's the first out of the inning. Here's the aforementioned Francisco Lindor. Now it's 10 hits and 18 at bats in this series. Switch hitter batting from the left side. One of 3 straight switch hitters in their lineup. Davis going to third from his knees. The throw is not going to be in time. Suarez did a nice job of keeping that ball on the infield. Barnhart fired that thing from his knees. Davis gets his 10th steal.
And even with the shortstop, Zach Cozart holding him fairly close down there, Davis still feels like he can get a jump, and he does. Suarez even putting that knee down a little bit, maybe to try to keep Davis to get to the bag, but he still got in there.
Ties Davis for second in the American League in stolen bases. Jose Altuve of the Astros leads the league with 15. Infield in.
You know, you see it a lot with fielders who have a pretty good idea that when a runner is coming in head first, they can drop their knee down and maybe block the base a little bit. You see Suarez trying to do that. He did give a part of the bag to the runner right there.
That's going to drop down the left field line, and another hit for Lindor. The stolen base pays off for Cleveland.
Guy is waving a magic wand right now.
Now lead 4-2. 2 hits in this game. 11 in the series for Lindor. How about Rajay Davis? He scores a run. He has now scored 10 runs in this series.
Lindor had a couple of these down the left field line when the Reds were in Cleveland at the beginning of this interleague series.
Mark Riggins to the mound. Wouldn't be a Reds game without the pitching coach of the Reds going to the hill. Gotham threw in the game last night at a 1-2-3 11th. Came on, was able to get the double play ball off the bat of Jimenez in the 4th, relieving Adelman, who left the game with appeared to be some sort of a back or side issue. No report yet from the Reds clubhouse. In this inning, a double, a single. 2 runs home for Cleveland. Carlos Santana steps in. Two-run homer in the 4th. He bats again here in the 5th. Gotham trying to keep Lindor close. He stole a base back in the 1st inning, his 7th. He and Davis really the bulk of the speed on this Indians team. Blast to right field by Santana, and a multi-home run game for the Indians first baseman here tonight. This one with Lindor aboard. This has been a 4-run inning, and it's now 6-2 Tribe. 6th multi-home run game of the career of Carlos Santana. 4 RBIs in this game for him.
The Reds have figured out where not to pitch Santana, because that pitch may have been a little bit more inside than his previous home run pitch, but still up around waist high. Puts a good flat swing on it.
So now it's Jose Ramirez. 6 runs tonight, 42 runs in this series so far for Cleveland, counting the 2 over at their ballpark in the game and a half that have been played here thus far. This is a team that came in 10th in the league in runs scored before this series began. Check swing and an appeal down the 3rd, and yes, says Tim Timmons. Ramirez went around, 2 out. For the batter, Lonnie Chisenhall. This guy was going to be the 3rd baseman of the future for the Indians about 5 years ago. Has not worked out for him over there. Like Ramirez, they've converted him to the outfield. So far, so good. Cotham figures to be finished after this 5th inning. A pitcher spot due up 2nd in the bottom of the 5th. Evis Sampson was up and throwing earlier in the Reds bullpen. He appears ready. Cozart out, Hamilton and Duvall in, and it'll be Adam Duvall to make the play. Chisenhall 0 for 3, but the Indians get 4 in the top of the 5th. the Toyota sign during tonight's game. Nancy Nolan from Cincinnati will win this beautiful Tundra that's on display. Will be on display all year out here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win in an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Barnhart to get it started here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tyler Holt is on deck. He will bat for Cotham. The Reds will employ a new pitcher come the 6th inning. Tucker hit the ball hard his first time, unfortunately right at Uribe down at third. This time he'll try Kipnis with no luck. The leadoff man out here in the 5th. So here comes the former Indian Tyler Holt. Holt drafted out of Florida State by the Indians back in 2010. Made his big league debut 2 years ago with the Indians. 36 games with him in 2014. Only 9 games with them last year. He spent most of the year at AAA Columbus. And then remember, he was claimed by the Reds late. He played 5 games with Cincinnati.
Well, we saw him a lot during spring training at Goodyear down there, of course, with the Indians and Reds sharing the complex. Always high energy guy. And a very good defender. So, you know, on a ball club that has a thumper in left field that would like to put some defensive player in there, Holt can do that. He can also play center. We've seen him start in center a couple of times.
Driven in a couple of runs this year, no home runs. Actually does not have a major league homer.
Another thing to watch here, you know, the Reds have had a string of bad luck. They've had some bad pitching, some bad baseball, and some bad luck. But tonight, especially bad luck with Alderman leaving. You got to watch this ball club and see what the attitude is. I mean, you're down 6-2. All of a sudden, you know, with a 4 spot on the board in the 5th inning, I mean, it can take the wind out of your sails, there's no doubt, but you still got to get out there and compete, and you've got to get after it. And that's where these guys have to draw on a little professional pride, not to you know, play the "oh, woe is me" card. It's interesting, you know, when you're watching Josh Tomlin pitch, and there are a lot of different sources for finding the speed of the pitch, but if you rank the pitchers in all of baseball with a minimum of 30 innings pitched this year and rank them from the slowest to the fastest average velocity on their fastball, Josh Tomlin is 4th slowest. Now, 2 of the guys ahead of him are legitimate knuckleball pitchers, so you can throw them out. So he averages really less than 88 miles an hour on his fastball. If he showed up at a pre-draft tryout camp, the majority of the scouts who would see this young man pitch would say, sorry, you don't throw hard enough to pitch in the major leagues. And he would say, well, I don't need to go through your farm system because I'm already a starting pitcher for the Indians. The high today he has thrown today is 89. The low is 74. He mixes in some cutters, and that may bring the average fastball velocity down if the data that you're looking at doesn't break that out. But I mean, really, to get a college scholarship nowadays at a big time D1 school, you need to be up around 90 miles an hour as a right-handed pitcher. He's not an especially big guy, 6 feet 1 inches tall. He's 190 pounds. 19th round pick when the Indians drafted him out of Texas Tech in 2006. That means that there were 580 players taken before him. And here he is, 11 games over 500 in a very fine major league career.
It's interesting, though, to hear you say that, because the idea really, by hook or by crook, is to get outs.
Absolutely. And we've said the same thing when we see Jeremy Hellickson pitch, or even Aaron Nola. Although he was a #1 draft pick for the Phillies, he didn't rely on overpowering stuff. And the one pitcher that the Reds have seen from the Indians in this series who had the toughest time of all, they gave up 6 runs in 4 innings, was the opening night starter named Cody Anderson. And Anderson was throwing, what, 94 to 96 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So they run the big guy who throws hard right off the mound. But those guys with a little bit of command and touch and control, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, are the ones that are getting the outs.
Kipnis is going to make this play, and Holt is out. He had fouled 6 straight balls off before finally Tomlin gets the better of it. Just a reminder that as you enjoy tonight's game, afterwards we'll bring you a Miller Time moment of the game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Where Bronson Arroyo would stack up on that list back when he was playing. He'd been near the bottom there, wouldn't he?
He would be. I mean, there was a time when Arroyo could throw, you know, in the low 90s. I don't know if he ever really wanted to throw much harder than that, but I mean, he had fabulous breaking stuff. When you look at Tomlin, he doesn't really have a great curveball or a trick pitch of any kind. He doesn't drop down the way Arroyo did. I mean, it's just, he's got a quick arm. He gets it up very quickly out of his glove behind his right ear. He works fast. And he just gives you a little bit of this and a little bit of that and gives you a chance to make your own outs. I mean, he's only had 1 swing and miss strike tonight. So when the Reds swing the bat, they make contact, which is his game. I throw it, you hit it, and my fielders field it. That's the agreement Tomlin likes to have.
Not a bad one to have if you're a pitcher. Well, he's gone at least 6 innings in each of his last 3 starts. He's on a way of getting through 5 in this game. He walks his first, and that's something we really haven't talked about. That's a rarity for him right there.
It is. I mean, obviously you don't last long if you're walking guys and you don't have a strikeout pitch. He's got 3 strikeouts. One of them was the pitcher.
Only walked 4 in 35 and a third innings coming into this game.
The other rarity is Zach Kozar taking a walk. I mean, that may be stop the presses kind of thing right there for a leadoff guy. He's a pretty much a leadoff hitter and not a leadoff walker. That is only the 3rd base on balls that he has seen this year in 125 plate appearances, 26 or 27 plate appearances, including tonight.
Not your prototypical leadoff man in terms of walks. A 320 OBA coming into the game.
Right. Well, he's there until Billy Hamilton gets the confidence enough of Brian Price to stick him in the #1 spot. And then Kozar moves in front of Joey Votto, probably in the #2 spot. And he may even hit way better in that spot than he does in the leadoff spot. I mean, you can't take anything away from what Kozar's done this year.
No.
I mean, just walks are just not part of his game right now.
really thought he had laid off. Ryan Blakeney had other plans, and the inning comes to an end. Saturday, starting with the D-backs taking on the Cardinals in a game you can only see on FS1. Then on Fox, it's the return of Baseball Night in America, featuring two of the best teams and rivals in baseball as the Cubs battle the Giants. It's all Saturday on FS1 and Fox, or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Kivas Sampson into the game. He, like Cotham, also pitched in last night's game here. This is day 2 upon the return of Sampson from Louisville, where he had been optioned on the 17th and then designated on the 20th, outrighted on the 22nd of April. 2 games down up here prior to last night. 7 games down in Louisville with a 1.37 ERA. He gets Uribe to start the 6th. Bruce on the run, and it's a foul ball. Bruce cuts this ball off, hit hard by Uribe, who's on for the first time tonight. Eight hits now by Cleveland. That'll bring the catcher Jimenez to the plate. Hard hit to left, but Duvall there to haul it in.
Sampson was originally drafted by the Padres. They got him out of high school. He's from Ocala, Florida. He was 18 when he signed. He's only now 25 years old, so he's still a young man, even as far as baseball terms go. Picked up by the Reds at the beginning of last year in the offseason. Had a very good spring training, and then he ended up going to AA, AAA, and in the big leagues in 1 year with the Reds last year. know, Sampson has plenty of arm, and this is the kind of comment that can go to so many different pitchers that are in every different organization. Plenty of arm, but needs more consistency with his command of his fastball, being able to throw his breaking ball for strikes, and maybe figure out a way to have a little deception.
Sampson thought about it, but lobs it on over to first, and that's the first professional sacrifice bunt of the career of Josh Tomlin.
That's the first time that Josh Tomlin, as a major leaguer, has put the ball in play as a batter, and it has not gone for a base hit.
Good way to put it.
So there goes that batting average ball in play leadership that he had. Although maybe this doesn't even count towards that. So he still has 1,000.
He tied an Indians record when he had the double in the 5th inning. The last Indians pitcher to get 2 hits in a game that included a double was Steve Dunning back in September of 1972. Tomlin does it here tonight.
Brandon Phillips still having a chuckle out there with Juan Uribe at second base. Just a moment ago, when Barnhart went out to the mound to say something to Sampson, look at Phillips going over there, and he's going to tag Uribe as if it's the hidden ball trick. He said, "What do you mean?" And of course, he didn't have the ball, and it was all a jest. But Brandon had been chuckling ever since. Back to business now.
Hard into the corner by Rajay Davis. That's a fair ball and a run batted in. Uribe will score. Davis in the second with a double, his second double of the night. He's 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs in this game.
I don't know about you, but I think he's getting my vote, Jim.
You know, I was just sitting here thinking about that exact thing.
I mean, we were asked before the ball game begins to select the player of the series, of the 4-game set with the Indians, the Ohio Cup. And really it comes down to 3 guys coming into the game. Jay Bruce being one, having a great series. Francisco Lindor, the shortstop, who also is having a terrific series, or Rajay Davis.
Really, it's hard to distinguish between Davis and Lindor in terms of MVP. I mean, Davis has scored 10 runs in the series, driven in 5. Lindor has 11 hits in the series, driven in 5, stolen a base.
Well, maybe the only way to do this is to get one of our interns, not our interns, the Reds media relations interns, Juan or Chris or
Preacher, James.
Okay, yeah, James. To crunch the numbers and come up with maybe a WRC plus.
Is that a cereal?
Well, it could be, but I think it stands for runs created.
What's the W?
The weighted runs created plus. Don't ask me to explain the plus part, but it means it's good.
Plus always means good, right?
That might be the determining factor as to who gets the vote.
Or we simply vote them as a tie. Cannot distinguish.
really just wonder. I mean, control has always been somewhat of the issue for Kiva Sampson, like so many young pitchers who've got great arms. And I mean, if you walk guys, it means you're wild, but if you can also be wild inside the strike zone, you just wonder what the key would be to get a guy like Sampson to be able to have command like Josh Tomlin. I mean, how do you teach a young pitcher to repeat his delivery so that he can throw the ball where he wants to? I guess it's as elusive as trying to teach a kid to get out of a slump.
He's only 25 years old, so hopefully it'll all come together for him sooner rather than later. He's a guy we talked about last night, claimed off waivers by the Reds from the Padres in January of 2015. The high draft pick, a 4th-round pick by San Diego.
And for me, I really believe that, and I'm going to sound like an old guy that you know is going against the grain. Less time in the weight room and more time playing catch and throwing the ball to the exact spot you want the ball to end up. Because ultimately, that's all that counts when you're on the mound.
I don't think that's old guy talk.
And well, I just don't see. It's the same dedication nowadays to a lot of throwing as compared to a lot of weight work and rubber band work and cardiovascular work and so on, when it really doesn't involve picking up a 5-ounce baseball in your hand.
Sampson got over there nicely as Phillips fielded that ball with interference from Votto. He had good concentration to make that play, and through all that, the inning comes to an end. With a bang with Fireworks Fridays here at the ballpark this Friday. Catch all the Reds action for as low as $12. Plus enjoy a spectacular post-game fireworks show presented by PNC Bank. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com. That'll be here tomorrow night. The Seattle Mariners, the first place Seattle Mariners in town. Cracks one out to right, unfortunately, right at Chisenhall. Seattle won today 7-2 at Baltimore, with Carnes getting that win, so they'll come in here tomorrow at 23-17. started the day 1 game ahead of the Texas Rangers. Rangers off today, so they will be a game and a half ahead of Texas and in first place when they show up here on the field at GABP tomorrow. They, of course, have some familiar names. That Seattle team. Nori Aoki used to be with the Milwaukee Brewers. Robinson Cano, longtime Yankee, who signed that big deal a couple of years ago with Seattle. Nelson Cruz, big home run hitter. Kyle Seager, a couple of years ago when he signed that big contract at third base, people were going to compare his contract to what Todd Frazier may sign. Of course, it didn't happen. They traded Frazier away.
You know, looking over that list of pitchers that have low velocity compared to the, the really hard throwers that we see now, like Steven Strasburg and Noah Syndergaard. 2 of the Mariners that are scheduled to pitch in this series are on that list as, the lowest 10 in baseball as far as velocity on their fastball. Iwakuma being one, and believe it or not, Felix Hernandez.
Really? Wow, that's
averaging
amazing.
less than about 90 miles an hour on the fastball. Now he can vary the speeds dramatically, but he's not driving it up there at 99 miles an hour every time. A lot of strikes tonight for Josh Tomlin.
He gets Phillips on strikes. That's number 5 for Tomlin. The only trouble he's had in this game was that 4th inning, the double by Hamilton to right and the home run by Votto. He's had a couple of 1, 2, 3 innings. Bruce has struck out and bounced out 0 for 2. Looking to have his 4th straight outing in which he goes at least 6 innings. Indians, we mentioned earlier, Tomlin 5-0. The Indians are 6-0 in his 6 starts this year. By the way, report from the Reds clubhouse, Tim Adelman left the game with a strained left oblique.
Seems to be going around.
You know the oblique story from Anthony DeSclafani this year.
I never knew what an oblique was until a couple of years ago. It's been kind of fuzzy to me.
Before the game gets going with Reds Live pregame here on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live pregame presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. How about tonight's Quicken Loans Rocket Arms segment? Only active players with 2,000 strikeouts with his current team. One of them will pitch in this series. Felix Hernandez, 2,184 strikeouts with the Seattle Mariners. Justin Verlander, whom the Reds have faced prior to in the past, he's on the list as well. He just got to the point last night, Justin Verlander. Racked up 10 Ks last night against Minnesota. For Carlos Santana, he's had a big night. His 6th career multi-home run game. 2-run blast in the 4th, another one in the 5th. Now here he is in the 7th. Red starter Tim Adelman, 3 1/3 innings. Left in the 4th with a left oblique strain. Caleb Cotham an inning and 2/3. And now Kivas Sampson, who pitched the 6th, a lot of run, walks the leadoff man here in the 7th.
Our feeling precisely.
4th straight inning that the Indians have had their leadoff man on. We come up with these numbers. Sometimes they're amazing. Like, how in the world do they get to all these? 37 times they've walked the leadoff man. Here's Ramirez, is 0 for 2. Ramirez tonight walked back in the 4th, ended up at 3rd eventually, but was stranded there. 1 of 5 the Indians have left on. Got in on him there, and a fly ball that'll retire Ramirez. Going to be handled by Hamilton. Out number 1.
Yeah, I played on a rookie ball team one time that had a lot of trouble throwing strikes, and our pitching coach, this is going back into the 70s now, right? So our pitching coach was a junior college coach that was just spending the summer helping out coaching one of the New York Yankees summer A 3-month league teams up in the New York Penn League. And we were having a hard time getting the ball over the plate as a team, and he got everybody together and he said, boys, there's a strike and an out. He goes, you just make believe that that strike zone is a TV set. Okay. And if you can throw that ball in that TV set, you get to go on a date with Farrah Fawcett.
Okay.
And that's all he said in the meeting. And that was the end of it.
And your staff became the best pitching staff in the league?
Well, we started throwing strikes. Now, the date with Farrah Fawcett never happened. Of course, I'm aging myself because half our viewership out there may not know who Farrah Fawcett is.
Yeah, who's Farrah Fawcett?
Luxurious model and a movie star.
Well, she was married to Lee Majors. Well, who was Lee Majors?
Yeah, $6 million man.
He was a $6 million man.
Which in those days was a lot of money.
Well, you wouldn't scoff at that now, though.
Well, you throw that ball inside the TV set.
don't you take a run on through the clubhouse maybe tomorrow? You won't be here tomorrow. Take a run on through there the next time you're there. Throw that pearl out there and see how it lands.
Problem is that they can all hit the size of the TV sets they're selling today.
And that is the rest of the story. Here's Jimenez. He's 0 for 3. Hit the ball hard as last time, but out into left. Two on, two out for Cleveland. You know, funny, you look back at the history of interleague play for the Reds, and Cleveland dates back to 1997. And in all that time, never has there been a season series sweep. (5-1) last year in favor of Cleveland, and the Reds had a 5 out of 6 in 08 against the Indians. That's the worst it's been, or the best, depending on what team you like. But never has been a sweep of the series. But if the Indians hang on and win tonight, that would occur for the first time. Short half picked by Suarez, and they get the runner at first, Jimenez, to retire this side.
Cincinnati. I'm Jim Day. Got some questions on social media. We are a full-service operation. Asking, when Eugenio hits a home run, he seems to be really excited when he crosses home plate and blowing kisses to the crowd. Who would he be blowing those kisses to? Now, naturally, you would think his wife. She is certainly one of them, Julia. But what's cool about this story is it's really to his mom. Alejandro and Rosalia, his parents, in from Venezuela, and they are living with Eugenio here in Cincinnati. And Mom obviously loves when he hits a home run, but loves it even more when son blows her some kisses. So Alejandro and Rosalia getting a little taste of Americana here in the Queen City. And let us not forget Miriam. That's his wife's mom. Can't forget the mother-in-law.
Well, that means one thing for certain, Jim Day, that he is getting some fine home cooking every day.
Well, a lot of the Hispanic players, that's one thing that they do miss when they're away from their home country is home cooking.
Well, it reminds me of Johnny Cueto. He had his mom here. He had his brothers here a lot. They lived with him. His mom, Christina, would cook for him all the time. His favorite dish, sancocho.
You want to explain that?
No, it's a Dominican, like a stew.
Have you had it?
Yes, I have.
Like it?
Delicious.
Have you learned how to cook it?
Negative on that.
How about the missus? Has she learned how to cook it?
Not yet.
Not yet being the key phrase. Some skills right there.
Wow.
Without a glove, leaning over his partner there. One hand grab. Chisenhall handles that fly ball by Adam Duvall, who's 0 for 3 tonight. Duvall now 1 for 12 in the series. He's cooled off a little bit from that Philadelphia portion of the recent road trip that he had. Josh Tomlin now has equaled his season best at 6 2/3 innings. Since he gave up the home run ball to Votto in the 4th, he's retired 11 of 13 that have come up there against him. Infield hit by Suarez in the 4th, and the walk in the 5th to Kozar. Got himself right back together after the double by Hamilton and the home run by Joey. And Lindor takes a hit away from Barnard, who hit that ball well. Reds go in order in the 7th. Honda game summary. Here's the first of the two-run homers hit by Carlos Santana tonight. That came in the 4th inning, put the Indians on the board. Tim Adelman, meanwhile, had to leave the game. Later announced as a strained left oblique that occurred in the 4th inning. Joey Votto, meanwhile, in the bottom of the 4th, tied the game. 2-run blast, his 6th of the year. Right at the top of the Reds bullpen out in left center. Santana answered again, another one in the 5th inning with Lindor aboard. This came against Caleb Cotham. That was part of a 4-run fit that gave the Indians a 6-2 lead. They lead now 7-2. They play in the 8th. That's tonight's Honda game summary. So the Indians get a 2-homer night by Rajay Davis last night and by Carlos Santana tonight. Josh Tomlin, 7 innings worth of 2-run 4-hit baseball. Back at the plate here. 2 for 2 with a sac bunt. This time he does what a pitcher normally does, and that is make an out.
Well, you know, a lot of people are wondering, is there an advantage to a ball club like the Indians, American League team that comes built with a designated hitter on it, when they host a National League team in these interleague games? Now, the Mariners are coming to Cincinnati. They won't be able to use their DH. They've got to put a DH if they want to use them. Nelson Cruz in the field somewhere. But when they get home and they play against those National League teams, do they have a distinct advantage? So we had our main man, Joe, look up the numbers. I had an email today from an inquiring viewer. And here's what happens. When the American League hosts a team in American League parks, their winning percentage is close to .600. And if you have a winning percentage like that, you're going to the playoffs every year. And in National League parks, they're slightly over 500, but still much closer to the halfway mark. So, yeah, the stats will bear it out that they do have an advantage when they play in their home stadiums. There's that guy on base again.
Sampson in his 3rd inning of work walks Davis, so he would not have a clean inning here tonight. Kipnis now, Lindor on deck. Kipnis 0 for 3 with a walk. Bruce, Phillips, Hamilton all converge, and it is Jay Bruce. Catches that ball before it hits the ground. Kipnis is out number 2. Here's Lindor. He, like Davis, been on 3 times. walked, has 2 singles, 2 runs scored, a run batted in. Davis has walked, 2 hits, both doubles, 2 RBIs, a run scored, and a stolen base. Lindor also has a stolen base. These two have been deadly combo for the Indians against the Reds in these 4 days. Most amazing part of that whole thing is, I mentioned it last night, Davis had come in something like 0 for his last 18 when this series began. Lindor out to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Indians by 5. Saturdays this season at the ballpark for as low as $12. This Saturday, the first 25,000 fans will receive a Ken Griffey Jr. dual bobblehead thanks to St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS, or you can visit reds.com. Sad but true tale here. 7-2 Indians into the bottom of the 8th.
And he's still out there.
Yeah, Tomlin had 2 complete games last year, 4 in his career. Tonight's work the longest that he has gone this season. Looking to keep that record perfect. He gets Jordan Pacheco to lead it off as a pinch hitter for Kivas Sampson. Sampson got better as his night went on. Is it playable for Santana? And it is, right near the dugout. Pacheco is retired. We talked earlier about the fact that this was an undefeated Thursday. And how about a little update?
All right, well, so far, Jason Hamill is the one guy that has not lived up to it. Josh Tomlin is winning, so he gets an arrow up. Strasburg is up big. And in the 7th inning, Chris Sale throwing a shutout. So 3 of the 4 are trying to keep that record perfect.
Not bad at all.
The interesting matchup really was Strasburg, Matt Harvey, and Harvey continues to really struggle.
On the run out there is Ramirez. Short hops a wall on him. Cozart's going to get himself a double. Another multi-hit game for Zach.
I mean, Cozart looked like he hit this ball with one hand. And it's just jumping off his bat. Gets his foot down, and that ball's on the outer part of the plate. And boy, does he get it right on the sweet spot.
He's been on 3 times tonight. Cozart, a single, double, and a walk. Mentioned in the first inning with his night last night, he had 3 hits. He was at 320. Just barely on the outside looking into the top 10. You'd figure he'll be back in there tomorrow. Davis will make that catch as Cozart will tag and advance. Billy 1 for 4, and there are 2 out. For Joey Votto. On this undefeated Thursday here in Cincinnati, 21,173 come out to watch one of those undefeateds. 21,173. Terry Francona on his way to the mound. Josh Tomlin has gone 7 2/3. Indians lead 7-2, and Terry says, "Great job, Josh." He leaves the game, and the lefty Kyle Crockett, twice has been brought in this series to face a lefty. Bruce is brought in here to face the lefty Joey Votto. Nice hand for Josh Tomlin, and well deserved. Watch the game on TV. You can now stream Reds games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Reds wherever you go. The pitcher is the lefty Crockett, the batter Votto. This is the first ever matchup between these two. Crockett was brought in, we mentioned, on Monday over in Cleveland to face Bruce in the 5th inning. Bruce got a 2-run single against him with the bases loaded. Turned out to be the only batter he faced. He also worked here last night. Came in to face Bruce again. Bruce got another base hit against him, the only batter he faced.
You know, I'm not so sure that this is really for the for Terry Francona trying to, you know, secure the lead in this ball game. I think it's more trying to get Kyle Crockett some experience against a real good left-handed hitter. He has come in twice in this series, both for one batter, both times facing Jay Bruce, both times ending up in a base hit. Both have been bloops into left field. Because sometimes when you only have one left-hander in the bullpen, and he's not the closer, you have a hard time deciding when you're going to use him. Do you use him early? Do you use him late? Do you warm him up a couple of times?
Well, they appealed to third, and Tim Timmons says yes, indeed. Votto goes around, and so this time, third go around, Crockett gets the lefty. He is brought in to retire. Fox Sports Ohio has been brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger to save big store wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Indians up by 5. They bat in the 9th inning against a new pitcher, Blake Wood. Wood, one of the few that did not pitch in the game last night. He worked in the game on Tuesday over there in Cleveland. Allowed a run in an inning and a third.
Boy, Blake Wood really on a pace to pitch in about 80 games this year. He has pitched now in just about 50% of the games the Reds have played. This is his 21st appearance. The Reds are playing their 41st game.
Well, seeing as he has not appeared in the big leagues in what, 4 years, he's probably glad to get the big league work.
Yeah, rather better to be overworked here than underworked in the minor leagues.
I'm sure he would agree 100%.
But he's earning his meal money.
He gets Santana, who's had a big offensive night, a pair of 2-run homers. In fact, those are our Volkswagen drives of the game. First one came in the 4th inning against Adelman. Next one came against Cotham just 1 inning later. Again, the 6th multi-home run game of the career for Carlos Santana. Those 2 blasts are Volkswagen drives of the night. Got under this one, and it's going to be caught by Cozart for the out. Here's Jose Ramirez. Indians went down in order in the second. Only time they were retired in that fashion tonight. Now Blake Wood has come on and gotten the first two here. Lonnie Chisenhall walks to the plate. Reds' ninth inning will feature Phillips, Bruce, Suarez. Anybody reaches, Duvall. Chisenhall tonight 0 for 4. Nice work by Blake Wood. A 1-2-3 ninth inning. Time moment of the night brought to you by Miller Lite. Let's go back to the fourth inning and Joey Votto. Reds trailing at the time 2-0. Joey unloads on that ball on the delivery of Josh Tomlin for his 6th home run of the year. The leap with Brandon. That tied the game at 2. That's our Miller time moment of the night brought to you by Miller Lite. Don Long, the hitting coach of the Reds, and Joey Votto out here early every single day before batting practice, working on various things. And here he is in the dugout tonight again, talking hitting with Don Long. New pitcher on is Tommy Hunter.
That'd be a good conversation to listen in on. Because you know if it involves Joey Votto and hitting, it is a high-level conversation.
They seem to have a good connection.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Brandon squared that up pretty well. Unfortunately, out.
It's a no-luck swing.
Make sure you stay with us after the game and every game here on Fox Sports Ohio for Reds Live Postgame, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. I'll have a complete wrap for you, including interviews from the clubhouse. Reds Live Postgame following tonight's game. Bruce held hitless tonight after that multi-home run game last night. Into the shift he goes here, and he's thrown out by Jason Kipnis. Well, these two teams, the Reds and the Indians, would share that spring training complex out in Goodyear and play each other, what, 6 times over the course of the spring. He's 4 more times here, 10 times overall from the start of the baseball season until now. Won't see each other again, barring any postseason play, which doesn't appear likely. Won't see each other again until February.
And at the time they get together for one of their first games, don't they award the player of the Ohio Cup Series right on the field there in Goodyear?
Do they? I thought
they did.
Hit hard by Suarez. Davis on the run. Oh, is there a collision out there? Did they catch that ball? Davis has it.
How appropriate.
Wow, that's how the Ohio Cup Series ends this year, as Rajay Davis, who was named the outstanding player of this Ohio Cup Series, makes the catch of that ball. And they avoid collision and injury. Almost looked like the Votto Phillips jump.
He's yelling for it, and he got it.
The Indians sweep the 4-game series. They get both in Cleveland. They come into the Queen City and get both here. The final score, Cleveland 7, the Reds 2. The Reds live post-game right after the break.